year, about this time or so, after Symposium, we had a meeting, and I gave a presentation on the fact that they bought the dam. It was a big thing last year. It was the Style Labs acquisition by Sitecore. And the reaction was very dependent on who you were. The reason that I put together a little presentation was that people didn't think it was a big deal. People that did think it was a big deal, though a small amount. And then a lot of people didn't even really understand what it meant that they had bought the dam. And got a lot of positive feedback on it or so. And so we were excited to see what that meant, what you were going to get out of the Style Labs thing last year. Well, the interesting thing is that you didn't really hear much about it until you started hearing there was about the Content Hub. What is that? Is that the dam? The answer is yes. But the Content Hub offering is more than that. And we were lucky enough here at EPAM to be one of, I think it was 2 partners that got a sandbox and some early ability to develop on it and do some interesting pieces with it. So we were able to, what I'm going to do here is go through, I did a presentation with Chris Williams and Tim from Style Labs at Symposium. It was a big long thing, including a demo in there. And I really want to show you guys the demo. So we'll go through this real quick. I don't want to take a lot of time here, but I want to kind of explain what you're going to get out of this thing, why it's a really big deal, in my opinion, and to kind of show you the ease within this. So that's me. Okay. Okay, so
I've got a new photo for you for that, by the way.
Oh yeah, you do. All right, so this is going to be just a few of the slides, but I trimmed down the ones we had on here. And I'm not going to talk about this one, a couple things I want to say, and then we kind of go over these pieces here. The interesting things that you can catch on this is that this is a SaaS offering. This is not Sitecore. The Content Hub doesn't even have to be used with Sitecore. Now, we're in a Sitecore user group meeting, this stuff is presented at Sitecore Symposium. Of course, you're going to want to talk about using it with Sitecore, but you don't need to use it with Sitecore. This is a completely separate product. One of the interesting things is that there were several various presentations about Content Hub there. One of the big ones that I actually, one of the few that I attended, that I session I got 10, was the one from General Mills. And this wowed me. Was they, of course, are using Content Hub. And what they said is, we've been using it for 3 years, which they haven't been using it for 3 years because it hasn't been around 3 years. When they got to the end slide, that was like, and these are the next things we're going to do. It was all that, the Content Hub stuff. But what that means is that they've been using the Style Labs dam for 3 years. And it is stable. It is a stable, good piece of software. They're running, I can't remember what it was, 600,000. You got to think General Mills, it's Cheerios and whatever else, mostly Cheerios. Anybody here who has kids has purchased Cheerios. We usually have 3 or 4 boxes at the house, right? But General Mills, I mean, think about how big this is. They do, all the stuff, the recipes and the this and that and the other. So you're not talking about, when people think dam, they think pictures. Like that. That's the first thing. Oh, I'm just bringing my images. This is going to be my media language. But it's more than that. A dam used correctly is going to be, all of your media assets, PDFs. And General Mills, PDFs, videos, and all that kind of stuff like that. But it should be your raw files. It should be that you're using that dam for everything, not just whatever that particular channel is, the web channel or whatever. Everything that should be in there. And General Mills is using this. All of their stuff is in there. All their sources in there. Workflows and things like that are all built into the dam, and they're using that. Now the Content Hub doing here is more than that. So yeah, you're gonna get the dam, and that's a great thing. Not going to show you the connector with it. I don't have Sitecore installed locally on this machine. It would take too long. I'll demo the actual Content Hub itself, but the integration with Sitecore is something that works very well, better than the other dam integrations I've seen. This stuff never actually goes into Sitecore. You're not pulling some of the dam integrations you see. You're pulling a particular version of it. You sync it in. You put it in Sitecore. It goes in the media library. You're not doing that with that dam kind of stuff. It's a nice seamless connector that allows you to do all the dam pieces within Sitecore. You get to select it. It stays in the Style Labs dam. They cache it out. Okay? It goes out to their CD when you use it, whatever size you have and all that. It keeps your stuff lightweight, very well done. So, I mean, you covered that damn piece here. So the other pieces they have here in the web print, I haven't mentioned the end. They have the MRM, they have the CMP, the PCM, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and what the difference is between that and an actual PIM, and then the web to print. So if you look at these things, and this is their, let you walk through it. I think I have them all in here. Well, just right, get next to delete. We covered the dam, and I'll go back through and show you what you get on that. So CMP is an interesting one, and what they do here is they have where you manage all your content, blogs, social media posts, Sitecore content, etc. The Sitecore content is an interesting piece. So if you have people, and this is a common thing that you're going to see with companies that are using, Sitecore is a CMS, people to put content in that you don't want them entering in Sitecore. You have, and that's why they have like the blogs and the social media posts and stuff like that. You want people that can get stuff into your website or whatever you have, but they aren't trained on how to use the content editor, right? I mean, everybody here that uses the content editor knows it's not the easiest thing to necessarily go through and use. It does a whole lot of things, which means you got a whole lot of things that you need to learn. This allows you to have like a simple thing. I'm going to add this, and we have a client here, and this is where Sitecore content anymore. Articles. They author their articles in their own CMP that then we go through this whole process horribly to bring the stuff into Sitecore. So the people are not editing articles, creating them in Sitecore. They're creating them in this external piece. This allows you to do that kind of stuff. It allows you, it gives you a much more flushed out place that people who are not Sitecore editors can go in there, put content in. It can be pushed into, again, multi-channel. I'll show you one here in a little bit.
So, so tell me a little bit about the blogging. So in the past, we had like these community modules for doing like reblog, xblog stuff. How does the blogging work here? Is it pushing it into a WordPress or?
Well, I'll show you. Let me show you the kind of things that they do with this.
Okay.
And so the answer is extend, extend, extend. So with the Sitecore content piece, it just hooks in very nicely and it's configurable. I don't have a lot of time because I also maybe these guys to do, but I'll show you what we got here. Okay. The MRM piece, this for Karen's benefit, we're replacing use. So Karen is painfully aware of the fact, and I talked about this, and this is one of the big things for me at the Symposium piece is when we did this is we created a workflow system, our own miserable tool. We paid somebody $200,000 and they failed, and then we spent months and months and months and months creating a completely separate workflow tool. And this is because you have companies that make the mistake of thinking that they get Sitecore and then all of this content actual creation workflow, not putting it in and getting it pushed out so people can see, but the actual creation part, oh, this doesn't look right. I want this to be sitting over here. This image, we need to crop it like this. The wording is wrong. The font's wrong. Whatever you've got there, that whole thing that editors and authors and stuff like that spend all that time doing is not going to be managed in your CMS. Sitecore's workflow works well for what Sitecore does. It is never going to do things where you can have multiple people need to sign off on the same piece. It's like, these 4 people have to think that this is great before it goes to the next step in the workflow. That's the kind of thing that you're going to be able to get out of this. You can manage your projects and the tasks and the resources. You can see scheduling. This is the market piece. You can see not only I've got complicated pieces that people have to work together and they collaborate on, but I can see if I'm doing campaigns and stuff like that. I can see when content is going to hit, who's working on things in a calendar and stuff. You're going to get all of that kind of stuff out of that feature in there. Web to print, they do web to print thing. Bring it up. Sitecore had a really neat kind of web to print thing that they did. They don't seem to have it anymore. This does work. I know it does. It works.
Always the thing I wanted. It was my white whale. I wanted to do a PXM project.
I know PXM, and we had, every time we had a customer or found somebody that had a use for PXM, actually we had a use for PXM back in the day, which is because if you do print, you want to be able to do web print. It does. The piece works. But so this was the part where I ran my mouth. It's game changer, and then demo. So let's actually look. So I'm going to spend time this so that I can be time here. after this. Okay, this, I'm actually logged in. This is going to be, this is our sandbox. We're logged in here for Content Hub. You're going to see here products. We did kind of skip the PCM, but I'll talk about it. That's as opposed to an actual product piece here. But you can have your contents, your assets, all this other kind of stuff. If you have a lot of power, this is the thing I want to talk about briefly here. Why are we doing this? There we go. I have much power in this thing, so I can go in and manage it. This is very powerful through configuration. If I want to go, you can see option list, like state flows, schema, taxonomies. This is very extendable in the fact that you can write code to get it to do things, but you don't need to write code to do a lot of the things that you're going to want to be able to do with this. It is very, very flexible, very, very powerful in the way that you configure it. And I'll talk about extension a little bit when we show one thing. But from a GAM perspective, if we're going to look at this, and anybody who's seen it, they have this whole fruitful thing that anybody who's seen the demos from last year and whatnot on this. So for ours, Chris Williams suggested I put motorcycles in. For anybody who doesn't know, I play around motorcycles. And so what we did here is you'll see from an asset perspective, and anything here is asset. These are all just happen to be images. They can be videos, whatever it is. You're going to have first thing you get at your DAM is a very powerful and easy to use faceted search. You put the pieces in, it shows up. In this case, we can just see the stuff with some motorcycle pieces here. You're going to be able to, because they have, let me find this already, this one, oh, there it is. Okay, auto tagging. We'll talk about the assets from there. Auto tagging. I didn't put any of these things in here. I just set it up. It went out and determined the fact that this is an outdoor entry in a road, departure wheel, land view, et cetera, motorcycle. One of the ones, the auto tagging is fantastic. It is smart. It will, there's one of the ones that I have. Oh, and it allows you to do something. So think about this. These are all named IMG, blah, 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 right? Unless you go through the process of saying, oh, I'm going to upload this image. I want to name it something that makes sense so that when I'm looking at it in the tree, I know what this thing is. Unless you do that, you're going to upload lots of things. You're not going to get that. The fact that it has auto tagging, and this is, you know, let's see, the road here. Well, it's not very parked. Or not. I can't remember what it did. It's like there was a phrase in here that a lot of them were on. It's making a liar out of me.
Type row.
Yeah, it's type row. Yeah. You're going to get a smaller amount. These are the things that it figured out were by the road.
Now type tree and like whatever you.
Well, yeah, you can type all that, but there was a what I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, well, that's that. So you're going to get the description here, motorcycle parked on the side of the road. That's what it was, on the side of the road. I used the thing. And so it determined a lot of these were road pictures of the side of the road.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Is there a way
Yeah.
to train it to differentiate between Hondas and Harleys?
To be honest with you, the answer is yes, but I haven't gotten that far into it. I mean, you can actually, yeah, you can spend time configuring exactly what you're going to get in relationships with things like that so that it can actually learn. But you'll see these. So these are descriptions. It picked the description. It determined the fact that these are all motorcycles by the side of the road. So if I'm looking for something, and you know, and I didn't pick that. That's just what it did. It's going to allow you to find your stuff better. So I want to talk fast here. One of the other things that you're going to get out of this that is a nice, just kind of out of the box piece here is we're going to go back and talk about products real quick. So I added these motorcycle products in here. If we look at this one right here, these are all assets that belong to this particular motorcycle. You see the one with the flames, it's all pictures in here, that one. Oh, if we notice, these two have different motorcycles in it. So if I go here, and I can go and view this asset, we're going to note that this asset, which again, I think motorcycle parked on the side of the road, is tagged if we go down here. So the product is smart enough in configuration that this product has motorcycle brand, which put that it is, again, there's no code, there's no nothing. You're able to take the products and determine the fact that These options and that entire selection there for things you could do as motorcycle brand only appear on motorcycle products. There's no you have to go and you have to write code, you have to write the relationships, that kind of stuff you're going to get out of this. It's smarter enough to do that easier. So I went into manage, like you saw earlier, and I could set up taxonomies and things like that, do the relationships here. It's very powerful to be able to do that without writing any piece of code. It is smart enough that I can have the relationship of this one particular image is associated with these two here, meaning that from a product perspective, it shows up on both of them. If you think like so many systems you go into, you have essentially the same image uploaded in multiple times because like I want to associate this with whatever this is, product page, doesn't really matter. And oh, on this one I'm going to use it, it's uploaded multiple times, you don't know which one, you know, you don't have to do that here because you're able to do multiple associations right out of the box, which is a nice feature that you don't get. Yeah, only that.
That's a really common scenario. A lot of the beauty shops that you'll see on e-commerce sites, they'll show you 5 or 6 products in their product line. And what Brent's pointing out is if you don't have them tagged appropriately, you'll very often see inside something like the media library 5 repeat images, once for each media gallery for every product. And really, you have one image, it just is featuring 5 different products in it.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to have that appropriately tagged and manage that metadata through the system so that if one of those products is now discontinued, you know to update that image in one place rather than having to update 5 different media galleries.
So let me show you one of the other things and we'll go on to a couple other pieces here. Again with this, let's go to filters. I'm going to go to usage rights. I should have this done correctly. So if I go and I say, look, I bought an image, what have you, and I want to see, or you know, I've got a campaign going. Let's go like here to here, January to January. We're going to do a real simple one. We're going to go. I'm going to do some sort of campaign worldwide, all media. We're not going to get real complicated here. And I'm going to apply this. So I want to see something that I can use between January 1st and that. If you look real quick, the first one's dropped out. And the reason they dropped out is because associated with that asset is going to be information that you put in there on when it is valid, what it's valid for use. So that means that from this perspective, I can weed out things and not try to use them. If you're using the MRM stuff and you tell somebody to do something, they go try to download something from here, they're not going to be allowed to download it. They're going to go to the download options and it's going to pop up and say, yeah, you can't use this. And it'll give you the ability to say, I really want to use this. It'll go to somebody who has the authority and they can make those kind of decisions for you. But if you're having people, external people who use content, try to put together things for marketing, try to put together things for that, you're able to get it so that they don't accidentally use things that they shouldn't. That kind of stuff again. It's really important, or stuff that's old, stuff that expires, what have you. There's multiple uses for that kind of piece in here. I would show you the auto, like the save and the auto tag again, just showed you it works. It takes about 40 seconds, by the way. If you update one of these and allow it to do the auto tag, it's about 40 seconds. I did it in the demo, but I don't want to spend 40 seconds doing that.
How does it do with like textual content? So say you wanted to use it for managing like product information sheets, right? Or like product manuals.
You mean how's it going to do for the tagging of that? The answer
Not
is,
just like for the tagging of that, but like say you wanted to add like textual based content, right? So instead of so like use it as like a PIM system.
Product information is PCM.
Yeah, PCM. So the PCM has, and we really don't have, this is supposed to be like at a glance thing. PCM has all of that product stuff you want. It adheres to the standards that you're going to expect, the relationships that you have between the kind of stuff you're talking about. They've got all of that modeled out. It works, from what I can see, very well. To be honest with you, like those
Sitecore and Style Labs are very careful not to call it PIM.
And they're not.
Right.
And the difference between PIM and PCM, because I had to go look it up.
Yeah.
So PIM is going to have a lot more stuff having to do with sourcing and supply chain, physical dimensions, and what is my warehouse. The product content management is more like I need to manage the teasers, the product descriptions, so all of the sort of content that you would see on a typical product detail page.
But it doesn't get into the like.
So it's
you know.
So
This needs to be on shelf 4, bay 5.
Gotcha,
It weighs
okay.
500
okay,
pounds.
so
Yeah.
can the thing do that? The answer is actually yes, it can, but it's not.
It's not out of the box.
It's not, well, and a lot of it's actually more out of the box than you would think, but not to the point where they're going to call it that yet, because they're not done flushing it out.
Gotcha.
It is coming. It will be. They've given the propaganda. They are promising, but they're not. But again, I like this. That the people who built this thing are smart enough to realize that they're not going to overpromise. And so, will eventually this be full PEM? The answer is yes, but when they release it. Let's talk about actual content creation itself. So if we go to content, go to work, let's see if this works. It worked for the demo. Let's actually do, it's like this earlier, Sitecore, Twitter. Okay, so this is Chris Williams' various automated smart thingies that he has here. So if we go to, let's see, work. Okay, let's create a piece of content in this thing. So we're going to call this, no, I have my name here. We're going to call this new tweet. So don't really, actually, I don't add a campaign, but add, make this an advertisement. Just here, I should need to add localization. I should just be able to do this. All right, so we're gonna have a new piece of content in here. This is the whole, like, I want to create content, and this is gonna be a very simple thing. So we've got title, we've got text here that if I want to, I can add. I can also link items within here, you would expect to. So let's go on, the name of this motorcycle. So we can select this one. I'm gonna select this one as that. Oh, you know what? Let's select this one. Let's be adventurous. We didn't do this one in the demos. Okay, so I selected this, and now I can't see a thing because. Oh yeah, there it is. I got it. Okay, so I've added this. We've associated this with this, and if I want to go edit this piece of content, which notice it's going to do. It's going to have me, I want to save, I can save it as a new version, that kind of stuff like that. This is the simplest workflow. The workflow is very, very simple here, but let's go here and say, how do you spell demo?
Good enough.
Good enough. Well, okay, so we're gonna save this. All right, so yes, this gets saved. Okay, let us, advertising, I want to do, oh, okay, click the little edit button here. If I remember this, okay, so let's say we want to put it to Twitter. So can we post this to Sitecore? Yes, I don't have a Sitecore site. I'm showing you the content that you absolutely can post it straight to Sitecore. But let's go ahead. We're going to save this. You said that we want to put this to Twitter. I don't think I need a publication date. Just publication date. Okay. So let's save this. Okay, we're going to start the process itself. So like I said, this is very, very configurable. This is the straight out of the box. I'm going to send this thing for approval. And I'm going to tell you what we did here, okay? I'm going to approve it. I'm not going to reject it. I'm not going to go through that. I'm going to say that I want to publish this out to whatever I published it out to. So what we did here is we used, in this case, it's just an Azure function. It's going to call this, easy extended. You don't even have to do that in the latest version of this. You can actually write the code you want in your particular account, for lack of a better term here. And you can call the code locally. You don't even have to. So, but in this case, just as an Azure function we did for this, we improved it at Symposium because on a tweet, I don't know anything about social media, so I didn't know, neither did Jose, knew this, neither one of us knew that if you include an image link, you just get the link, you don't actually get the image, you actually have to stream the binary to Flirt. We didn't know, but it was easy, it took 20 minutes to update the code, you update the code. Now, I did this right. No, is it not hooked? Say, this is the part of the live demo. I don't know if this is still hooked up to this one.
Don't you have to put in like channel details?
I don't think you do. It should have just been Flirt. Nah, just nothing. It may not be hooked to this anymore. I can show you the ones that we did during the. All right. Well, that's what you get in the live demo. If you scroll down here, you can see the ones we did at Symposium. Which is a different image. There we are. So this one came doing exactly that. I think the function's probably been updated against Sandbox. And I didn't bother to check to see if anybody had been messing with it. But this came directly. That exact process that I went through pushed this to here. In the demo, we did more than one demo. We did a small demo when we were there, about a 20-minute one that Jose and Chris did, where he posted to a tweet. Well, it was before you do the image, but a tweet and a Sitecore at the same time. So you did both channels. So you were able to go through and say, I want to do this piece of content, and it looks different because he had a website. Same piece of content, but it showed the difference with two completely different channels, two completely different things. And that's said again, it's just a small Azure function where to extend this out of there. I am now, now I need to be done so that we can talk. But so hopefully you guys got enough of just kind of like the overall types of things that you're going to see out of this thing.
What actually gets pushed into Sitecore? If it was like, is it just a pointer or is it actual content that's going out there?
Actual content. You can push actual content. Yeah, absolutely.
So
You can, let me stop this.
So actually it creates an item over there
Yeah.
with the contents from here, so like that
Yeah,
it will appear just in an item with like selected image or whatever.
yeah,
Does it
and
keep that relationship somehow. So if
yeah,
you update the
there's mechanisms to keep all of that kind of stuff back and forth. The like I said, the example we have the client right now where they can totally use this is the articles. They are authoring articles in a completely separate system outside of Sitecore, and we consume them. This could absolutely replace what we're doing there in actually a much better way to allow them to be able to do the articles and that kind of stuff. The fields that you saw that just like that, there's a whole lot more to an article. Let's be honest with you. There's going to be some tagging about it. You have a rich text box. You have a title. You have a date or something like that. But I mean, what's in an article? It's like 3 or 4 more fields. You just get that in there and push it straight through. You use the multiples. But anyway, that's.
Does
that
it serve only Sitecore? Or
Oh no, that's what I was saying. That's why I showed tried to show the.
No, but like, can you make it serve like Drupal or
Oh, yeah.
something like that?
They got
Absolutely.
booed at some point. I
Yeah.
think I forget if it was Symposium or if it was during the time I can't talk about. But they said something about like, oh, we can push it to like WordPress or Drupal to something, and like the whole crowd booed.
Oh,
It was pretty funny.
I think I was at the summit.
Yeah, that was a summit.
Oh, they strike